Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool Bally pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this awesome Medusa pinball machine for quite a while now. We've done video after video after video. It's one of our longest series because this is such a cool game. We figured we'd do several videos on it. We drug this out of somebody's crawl space under their house and have been fixing it up and filming it the whole way. So if you didn't see any of the previous videos, go back and watch them. We uploaded them on this channel just before this, and we've got a whole playlist here on our channel just for this particular machine if you would like. This is one of the very creative, interesting games that Bally made in the early 80s. So check it out. But what this particular video is about a brand new updated, modded, you might say, enhanced, you might say, soundboard for the Bally Squawk and Talk games. Now, what in the world does Squawk and Talk mean? Let me show you. Okay, we're going to go into the back box here. And this is the original setup. This is not a newer game. This is straight out of the early 80s. This is Bally's Squawk and Talk soundboard. It's actually called that. Look, it's written on the side. And it makes a bunch of kind of futuristic sounds, and it actually can talk with this sound chip right here. Okay. Now, we did a video just before this one where we repaired this thing. So we've got it fully working, the original Squawk and Talk soundboard doing its thing. And it was a very interesting board at the time. Now, the other pinball companies had also made talking soundboards, so it wasn't completely unique or anything. Williams famously was doing the same thing, and Stern had done it with Flight 2000 and some of their games. So this was not like the first game with a talking soundboard, but this was kind of an interesting one, and that name is just unforgettable, right? The Squawk and Talk. So this particular one, if you didn't watch our previous video, we're going to play this game here in a minute just so you can hear how the original board sounds. This is the original. And then I'm going to show you the new one. We're going to install it, and we're going to see if it sounds the same and what its new features are. And we'll talk to you about where you can get that board if you need a Squawk and Talk. Now, there is a game list that these fit in, but I'll tell you, in the previous video, we repaired this one, and it needed a lot of work. The speech chip was bad. Okay, two of the ROMs had legs broken off. The two PIAs actually worked fine. The RAM, I broke a leg off when I took it apart, took it off out of the socket. One of the preamps was bad. Several of the caps needed replaced. You see I replaced them with radial. I didn't have axial ones to put in. And then on some of them, there is also a sound chip over here that's like the A1 3910 or one of those, A1, one of those. It's kind of like a synth chip. This game here doesn't use it, but a lot of them have that. So whenever we repaired this thing, it had lots of problems. So it can be repaired, and I like working on the old stuff, but you know, if it's your game, you might not like working on the old stuff. We also replaced the two potentiometers because they were bad. Also, in this particular game, we had to replace the speaker, but that doesn't have anything to do with the soundboard. But my whole point is, I like the vintage boards. And so, you know, I've been able to repair this vintage one. But the new board, you could probably argue will be more reliable. It's a great replacement if you've got a missing board or one that's just so damaged you can't figure out what's wrong with it, or you don't feel confident repairing it yourself. You could send it out and get it repaired maybe by somebody, but you know, who knows if other problems are going to develop, and who knows what that would cost. You might be better off putting that money towards a brand new board. So that's what we're going to look at. And again, like I said, I'm kind of old school. I like the old boards, but look, I've got a brand new MPU in this because the MPU that was in it was heavily damaged, and these new ones are great products. So I've replaced the Alltech, the original MPU with a brand new Alltech board just for reliability's sake, you know. So you may decide to do the same with the soundboard. Plus, it has some new features that are not available on the original board. Well, I'll show you those here in a minute. So let me close this door back up, and I'll set up the tripod, and we'll play it for just a minute so you can hear the vibe of how the Squawk and Talk was back in all of its 1981 glory. So we're going to play it a little bit. I don't have the back glass in it, so it's going to be, you'll hear a little more of the mechanicals because it's not sealed off by the glass, the sound. But this is basically what the Squawk and Talk sounds like.
Time your shot. Light your guns. Conquer Olympus.
Oh, I missed it. Missed it again.
Time your shot. Light your guns.
Missed it. Oh, look at that. Round the world.
Time your shot. Light your guns. Conquer Olympus.
Oh, missed it. He's laughing at me. Oh no! You don't want to keep playing after that.
Time your shot. Light your guns.
All right, so you get the idea of what it sounds like. Let me fix my pop bumper, and then we'll pull out the new Squawk and Talk board. All right, so we got this board a little while back because we knew we were going to be working on this game. And here we go. We've also got a very extensive manual that comes with it that I will show you here in a second. So, if I remember correctly, he told me that there was something about this has been even modified since we got this one. So, this one was made in January of 22. We're in September of 22 now. Now, we didn't get it back in January, but it was a few months ago. So, the Squawk Talk version 6. Yeah, that's right. Version 6. And then the guy, I don't know how you say his name. Gideo, whatever. That's the website. GEETEOH.com. Now, he makes these boards for all kinds of pinball machines. And they seem well designed to me. But what do I know? Okay. So you've got an amplifier section over here. It says amp volume. And then look here. It says Centaur, Echo, JPO, Jumper 1, I guess, or Jumper 0, and then no Echo, the others. So what's the deal with that? Well, it's got some kind of circuit that if you put it in play, it will make all of your voices have kind of an echo to it, which is, I guess, similar to how Centaur is. And we'll look at the game list here in a minute in the manual. Okay, so that's that. And I do not design PCBs. I work on them a lot of times, but I don't design them. I think, don't some of these come off sometimes? Maybe that one doesn't. But here's the connector down here for your soundboard. That looks exactly like the one in the game. And then over here there is another connector. The on mine, the only thing that connects to it is these two speaker lines here. Looks like he's got another place here where you can grab some more power if you need it for some reason. Maybe we'll talk about that in the manual. You've got some relays, it looks like here. Not sure why that would be, but that's kind of cool. There is a voltage meter set to 5 volts. That's pretty wild. So the one of the things that the Squawk and Talk has on it is that there are several voltage regulators on the actual original board. Looks like we've got some LEDs there. Then we have some dip switches. It says attract game title. And then it says merge relays, sound bank 1, 2, 4. Okay. 40, 49, 74, 165. And then V21 is his GAL chip, I guess. GAL, isn't that what they call those? Okay, and then up here you have 3 separate controls. Now on my board, my original Squawk and Talk, I've got a voice control, I've got a sounds control, but he has added a background sound control. Now there are some background sounds that are playing on that Squawk and Talk. If you hear that, we were just listening to it. It's very simple, right? But it doesn't have its own connection. These two are together, so we'll see if that's different once we get it in the game. And then here we have the wave trigger. It says Robert Sonics. Okay, so I think he has designed the board around that, I would suppose. And it has a little SD card with a decent little holder. This is a mini SD card that has the spring in it. Okay. And he has sent mine with a nice SanDisk mini USB. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Let's look in the manual and see how we're supposed to set this thing up, if there's any, what's going on. The relays are interesting. I don't know what that would be for. It could be that he's doing that so that different things in the game can trigger maybe different sounds. I don't know. But let's see. So it ships with this fairly thick manual, and a lot of this is because in the back he's actually showing you all of the sound waves for each game, and then he's showing you how long they are, because, are you ready for this? You can put your own in there. Think about it. You've got a SD card, and he's telling you, hey, the file on the SD card that's this is how long it is. So all you've got to do is take that file out and replace it with one that's named the same. That could be whatever song you want or call out you want. You could use my voice, for instance, going, time your shot. All right, I'm sure everybody's just dying to do that. Okay, so let's see what it says here. We got the cutesy little sticker. Did I mention that this gentleman, he doesn't just make the Squawk and Talk. Now he makes all kinds of them. So if you go on his website, there's a bunch of them for a bunch of different games. By the way, he is not paying me to do this, and I don't even consider this a review. I don't like the word I don't like reviews, because I don't like whenever people look for bad things. In most reviews they go, "Well, this could have been done a little better. You know, the part of the movie where blah, 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 blah." And I just get so tired of that crap. So this isn't a review. This is an admiration video, okay? I think it's cool. Squawk and Talk replacement soundboard. Kidio.com. If I'm saying that wrong, it's your own fault, because that's a weird word. Basic installation and operation. Install using the 2 screw holes in the corners of the board near the connectors. Okay. And by doing that, look up here, there are these little standoffs that are just to keep it from shorting out to the back box. If your housing is 18 pin, it is okay to leave the last 3 pins unconnected. So, we skipped a whole bunch. He's talking about this. That's why you've got 3 here that aren't connected. Basically, Bally designed the Squawk and Talk to where different connectors connect. Like I said, on mine, you only connect 2 wires here. There's not a big connector. But then on another one I've got an 8-ball champ that uses this same board. There is a bigger connector that does connect all of this. Okay. So what we skipped was J1, connect to the 15-pin keyed header for the control and power supply. If your housing is 18-pin, it is okay to leave the last 3 pins unconnected. J2, connect the speaker to the pins 1 and 2 of this header, either direction. Okay. When the board is powered, it will say the name of the game after a few seconds. The pinball machine MPU may also send other miscellaneous sound commands at power up. So on ours, whenever it starts, it just plays some kind of crazy stuff. About halfway through the boot up sequence, it'll go bling and make some weird noise too. Okay. Adjust the onboard power supply potentiometer between 4.9 and 5.1 volts. That's really cool. So there's that. Where is the onboard? Oh, it's right there next to it. See the little pot there? So you turn that until you're right at 5.1 or 5.1. Okay. Adjust the 3 volume knobs while playing a game. Adjust the amplifier volume on the board as well. You can press the test button to help with adjusting the volumes. If you want the background sounds off, turn that volume knob all the way down. Okay. Now on the Squawk and Talk, whenever you hit the test button, it plays, this may be set up different, but it plays a whole bunch of speech, about half the stuff that he says or everything he says, and then at the end it plays some sounds. It'll be interesting to see if that works similar. Okay, and so that's the basic installation and operation. Basically, if you follow that, you're up and running, it looks like. Okay. We're not going to go crazy on this, but we'll read some of this. Overview. This is a new design of the old Bally Pinball Squawk and Talk soundboard. My design uses current technology to replicate the old soundboard. Although the board will work with many different machines, the sound files in the root directory of the micro SD card will only work with one machine. After moving files on the card and changing game title dip switch settings, it will work with all other Squawk and Talk machines. Okay, so it says the sound files in the root directory. So we'll see how that works. It'd be interesting to see. I hate to say things out loud that might not be, but maybe that means that there are other directories and you have to move the files. Because he says, after moving files on the card and changing game title dip switch settings, it will work with all other Squawk and Talk machines. So it could be that the other files are on there, you just have to move them around. We'll see. This board has the following stock features. It utilizes the same machine mounting, although half the sizes uses 2 of the same mounting screws and standoffs. Now, I don't blame them for that. I think that's a great idea. You don't really need that big, huge board, especially if you're doing a new one. Why not make it smaller? It just makes it take up less room in the back box, and it costs less too. You would have to pay him more to buy it if it's twice the size, right? It contains volume knobs to adjust the sounds and voices separately. The design has extra features. Extra volume knob to adjust the background sounds. We're good enough that we caught that without even reading about it. The background is always playing. It is not stopped when sounds or voices play. That is a thing. On the Squawk and Talk, the background stops. I don't know if that's a limitation where they can't do it or if they did that on purpose. But the background does stop whenever the sounds or the voices play. Now, it's also worth noting that on the original Squawk and Talk, there is a setting in the MPU, not the soundboard. There's a setting in the MPU to change how many of the sounds play. So sometimes it plays with no background sound if it's set like that. So you can turn the background sound off with the MPU. I don't know if that function still works on this, but there is a merge switch to allow the merging of sounds so they don't turn off when others start. That's pretty cool. Interesting idea. Yeah, I noticed that on this board too. If he's talking, and I like to talk, so I like allowing other people to talk. If he's talking and then you do something else, it will cut him off and make the sound or whatever. So I guess that switch makes it where they overlap. It's pretty cool. There's a merge switch to allow the merging of sounds so they don't turn off when others start. It says not voices though, so maybe that's just sounds that do that. The board only uses the 12 volt, actually 16 volt, rectified unfiltered power line. Okay. All the sounds, voices, and backgrounds are customizable as they are WAV files on a micro SD card. Let me reread that. All the sounds, voices, and backgrounds are customizable as they are WAV files on a micro SD card. What that means is you can take any, like I said, any sound that's playing and replace it with your own wave file, and you can get as creative as you want. You can do the voice outs, call outs yourself. You can take call outs off of some other machine or off of another game. You can have your friend record the call out, or you can steal. Well, don't let me rephrase that. Don't steal nothing. Don't steal it. Don't do it. But if you were an unscrupulous, evil person, you could take, like, for instance, what I've been thinking of this whole time. For the background sound, you might be able to take a little snippet. I don't know how long it runs. You might be able to take a little snippet of, like, the Electric Light Orchestra's Turn to Stone and play that in your Medusa pinball machine. But don't do that. It's illegal. It's not illegal, people. If you're doing it in your house, it's not going to be illegal. There are 8 sets of customizable sound banks available. You can specify a custom attract sound file for some games. Okay. 3 relays can control external lighting mods, which are set to different gameplay situations. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. So what he's done is he's made this where basically the MPU, when you get to certain parts of the game, even on these really old games, it has different sounds playing. And so the board, I suppose, I think this is what he's doing. It can tell when you're in that different mode because of the music that's playing. And then because of that, he can send out a signal to turn on a light, or I guess whatever you got hooked to these relays, during that mode. So if you might have saw earlier, whenever I hit the red target, it goes, starts doing all this stuff. Well, you could probably set it up where one of these relays turns on a big flashing red light while that's going on or something. All right. That's just my idea. Okay, durations for each of the sound is stored in the program. Custom sound should be the same size or shorter. This may not be noticeable. I recommend trying first. Yeah, so anytime that you're modding the sounds and screwing around with that, some of it's going to work better than others. Like I'm saying, put a song in there. Well, the whole front of the song might be the guy tuning his damn guitar, and the thing only lasts 4 seconds, and you never get it. But if you cut the chorus out and put that in, maybe that's perfect, right? And it may be that some of them loop over and over again. Well, if they loop over and over again and it's the same, the guy's saying the first 3 words and then it loops, it won't flow right? So you got to mess with it a little bit probably. Controls on the board. So here's the relays, the 5-volt regulator, the meter. There's a little adjustment right there for the meter. The connector, the other connector, the dip switches, the test switch, the 3 volume controls, the wave player, a headphone jack, the echo jumper, and the amp. We found all that before we started reading this. There are 3 relays on the board for lighting mods. See the end of this document for specifics about how your game controls these. The plus screw terminal is always DC 12. It's actually more like 16. The negative screw terminal is switched by the relay on the board. They're switching the ground on and off. It is open when off and ground when on. Relays are disabled with dip switch 5. For 12-volt lighting mods, connect the power directly to the screw terminals as shown below to the left. For mods with other voltages, only connect the ground to the negative screw, like the drawing below on the right. Careful, the grounds between your lighting mod power supports and the machine must be the same. That's an interesting idea. So you might have a light that works on 5-volt, so you need to power it with 5-volt, and then you need to switch, you're going to switch the ground off with this, but you can't do that unless this ground is tied to that ground, or you're going to have problems. 5-volt regulator and meter. 5 volts is generated by an onboard adjustable switching power supply. This is connected to the voltage meter on the board. Adjust the voltage to 5 volts. Be careful. If the voltage gets too high, over 5.3, you run the risk of damaging the processor, the input inverter, and the dip switch register, and the wave player. That's true. Test button. Press to play the background and alternate between sounds and voices. This will allow you to adjust the 3 volumes. There are 3 volume knobs on the board to adjust the level of the different sound sets. Setting these too high can cause distortion when more than one sound is playing. I recommend keeping them at about 2 o'clock. Background. This is a background sound that is always playing when the ball is in play. Adjust this knob all the way down to turn off the background sound. Sound. This is all the sound effects which are not voices. Voice. This is all the spoken words and phrases. Okay. Here's his diagram, people. That's what 2 o'clock looks like. Look at this. This is a thorough manual, isn't it? So we're on page 3 of Check's notes. 64. So I can't read all of this, right? I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I think you can download it off of his website, I believe. Now, if I'm telling a bunch of crap and he don't agree with all this, forgive me. This is just, but I think I did see it on there. Dip switches. Let's see it. I want to see how you can change. Dip switch 6 attract. Turn on to play custom attract mode sound at sound file location. Blah 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 blah. For some games, the XXX probably means that you can name that whatever you want. So you can name that Turn to Stone. The one, the first one I thought of was the Supremes. Stoned Love. But I'll bet, I don't know if that would work in a freaking pinball machine. But boy, that's a great song. I'm young, I'm 43. But that's a great song, people. Man, that's some music right there. Okay, here is our game list finally. Are you ready? Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man used the Squawk and Talk. On that one, there's a little maze in the middle of the playfield. And whenever the ghosts are chasing you, and if the ghost catches Pac-Man, it goes, gotcha. Gotcha. My voice isn't as low as it used. Let me drink some Pepsi, see if I can. Gotcha. Can't do it tonight, people. Electra. I've got an Electra, but it's just a parts machine. I'm trying to save it. I'm trying real hard. Flash Gordon. I've had that one. 8-Ball Deluxe. I've got an 8-Ball Deluxe. Vector. I do not have a Vector. I do not have an Embryon. Good old Xenon. Love it. Centaur. I didn't know Xenon was not Squawk and Talk, but he's figured out how to make this work on Xenon, I suppose. Maybe. Some of these may not be Squawk and Talk. Centaur, Fathom, Spectrum, Medusa, this is ours. 8-Ball Champ, I do have that one right now. Fireball 2, Beat the Clock, it says Test, Rapid Fire, Test, and Numbers. Rapid Fire did not have a Squawk and Talk, I don't think. Unless it had it with no talking. It may have just used the squawk part. Okay, here we go. Wave Player. This board uses a Robert Sonic's Wave Trigger Board. All the sounds are in wave files on the card. The card must be 32 gigabytes or less. Okay, that's important. The active wave files are contained in the root directory. The CPU on my Squawk and Talk board knows the lengths of each sound. If you change any sounds, they should be the same or shorter duration. Okay. Basic wave board setup. The run load switch needs to be on run. Solder blob on 5-volt solder jumper to allow 5 volts for power. Red LED will be on solid when playing a sound. Button by the micro SD card will play the lowest numbered sound. An external amplifier can be connected to the headphone jack. So this is a great little manual because he's telling you how every little thing needs to be. Now, why would he tell you that? It's in case you need to replace that or whatever. He's telling you exactly how he did it and how it's set up. This is very cool. Echo jumper for all but Centaur set to no echo. To use the Say It Again Echo Reverb board in Centaur machines, set it to echo. It's a 20-watt amplifier. Now, on the older games, that's kind of what you had, or you had even less wattage than that, right? So that's not out of line considering the speaker setup in the game. It says if you want to add your own amp, you can connect it to the headphone jack. So very cool. You can put whatever you want in it. 12 volt out. These screw terminals will supply 12 volt, actually about 16 volt, to an external device. This is intended to power the aftermarket Echo board for Centaur machines. I've never played with that. I've got a buddy that's got one. We're probably going to do some videos on Centaur pretty soon. I'll look into that. Power and data connector. It's telling you the connections from the soundboard. Okay. Speaker connector, reconfigure for different machines. In order to reconfigure the board for use in a different machine, you must both, 1, set the dip switches, and 2, copy sound files to the root directory on the card. All the sound files needed for the supported machines are contained in directories on the card. These sound cards only play sound files contained in the root directory. Turn off the machine and remove the micro SD card from the soundboard. Insert the micro SD card in your computer. Erase the files, not directories, in the root directory. Copy all the files from the appropriate machine directory to the root directory. Place the micro SD card back into the sound card. This procedure will not bring back the numbers game files. In order to do this, either do not erase the numbers files or copy them back from the numbers directory. We're not going to do much of that because ours is already set up, but it looks like everything's in there. I used Audacity to create all the sound files. The sound files start with a 4-digit number. This is the sound number from the pinball machine MPU. Your custom sounds must also start with a 4-digit number. Valid numbers are 0 through 2047. Okay, sound banks. Sound banks are defined by the first 4 digits of the file. Blah, 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 blah. And then look at all this. Each sound is assigned a sound type depending on the game title. This is one of the reasons why you must select the game titles with dip switches 7 through 10. Here are the rules associated with each sound type. And you can imagine the amount of research that went into this to make sure that it works with everything. Types 0, 1, 2, and 4 are most used. Each is assigned to either the sound, voice, or background mixer volume knob. Okay. 0, nothing, no sound at this location, but it will play immediately if a file exists. 1, background. Stop the current background and put this background into a repeat loop. 2, sound. Play sound so long as no voice is playing. Will stop any currently playing sound if merge is off. 3, sound hold. Hold until other sounds are done. 4, voice. Hold on other playing voices and stop any sounds currently playing. Hold on other voices and stop any sounds currently playing. Okay. And then there's a whole bunch of other. And if we come down here to Xenon, Xenon alternating background tone, special alternating 20 file sound, Xenon alternating voice, slingshot alternating male female voice. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so there's just different things that are basically different ways that they made the sound files work on different games. The directories contain the files for each of the games supported by this card. To change games, erase the files in the root directory and copy. Don't move the files from the appropriate game directory to the root directory. See the section above for more details. I think basically what he's saying is there's going to be different directories in there, and basically the ones that are in the root are also in the folder or wherever that contains the Medusa sound files. So they're probably on there twice. That's why he's saying to delete them, because you're just going to copy from the directory. You don't have to move them back into the directory since you just copied them. Okay. Troubleshooting. We're not going to use the relays. He's showing you the fly wires on the board in case you need to mess with that. Okay, now here you go, people. Schematics. How cool is that? How cool is that? Huh? Loving it. Okay, so there's stuff that's specific to each game. So let's find Medusa. I thought it was near the end. 8-ball champ. I think maybe we went too far. I mean, I could look in the table of contents, but here we are. Specifics to Medusa. Power up sound. When the soundboard is powered, it will say Medusa, which is the non-stock sound at 164. I can't read through the camera as well as I can read in person. Upon delivery, this sound is stored in banks 0, 1, and 2. If you have recorded bank 3 phrase for bank 3, bank 4 for bank 4. I have recorded bank 3 phrase for bank 3, bank 4 for bank 4, etc. This will help you if you select a bank with no defined sounds. Okay, he's talking about adding things. Custom attract sound. This feature is not available with Medusa. It's just the way things were coded. Remember, this relies on the MPU because this board has no way of knowing what's going on in the game unless the MPU tells it. So to change a bunch of stuff, like to add attract sounds, you would have to change the ROM files on the MPU. And I assume, I'm not a software guy or a hardware guy, but I'm just a repair guy. But I would assume that what he's doing is he's looking for when the background music changes or when a special call out happens. Like if the ball lands in a saucer, it says the Zeus or whoever it is starts laughing. So maybe that's a trigger that he can use to do something else. So it's stuff like that. You have to get some kind of signal from the MPU to decide that. So he can't just make a track sound work if the MPU isn't telling it to do that. And this board wouldn't even know when it's in a track, really. Yeah, I guess it could tell if it wasn't getting a signal from the MPU. Okay, relays. The relays on the soundboard can be used to trigger external electronic 12-volt devices, such as lamps or sirens. The relays are associated with 3 game states. Relay 1 turns on when the game is playing. In other words, when the ball is in play, relay 1 will be on. So you can hook something up to do whatever. You could have a little dancing Elvis doll dancing over here, whatever you want to do. Number 2 turns on while the upper flippers are closed. So the upper flippers, when they close, I think it opens the switch. But I guess it the game can close those flippers. So I guess whatever that signal is, it must change the sound. And he's able to see that. Relay 3 turns on for 5 seconds when you can collect Neptune's treasure. And it says, collect Neptune's treasure. That's how you know that you're in that mode. So he must have it figured out. And when it calls for that signal, he turns on relay 3. Specific sounds are used to determine which relays to turn on and off. I'm figuring it out as we go, people. It all makes so much sense. It's such a logical little board. The following are the sounds that control the relays. That's very cool. So basically, they've all had to be numbered. Okay. Both sounds 191 and 250 are used to turn off the repeating background sound. Okay. Wave file names. The table below contains a list of wave files in the root directory for the micro SD card. File names for the sound bank 0 files are shown. It is recommended to name other banks with similar file names referring to bank 0. Example 0444 underscore 01888 underscore light gorgons dot wave for the sounds in bank 1. Light gorgons. Okay. Sound bank 0 is the default stock sounds for the machine. It is recommended not to alter these sound files. Keep these to go back to if you have issues with custom sounds. Sound bank 1 is delivered with a copy of the files from sound bank 0. Okay. This is a great starting point to make your own sounds. Overwrite the files with your own custom sounds. However, try to keep the lengths of the sounds the same, especially the words. Sound bank 2 is delivered with a different version of the stock sounds with different equalization. These sounds may sound better on your machine depending on the speaker you have. Man, this is cool. This is pretty slick, man. You can use sound banks 3 through 7 for more versions of custom sounds. Bank 7 has the number files for game title number 15. The numbers files can be overwritten. The following tables contain all of the Medusa sound file names. Use this list to create your own custom sounds. The type column is for the sound type. The length column is for the length of the wave files in tenths of a second. Now, are you ready for this? Look at this. Look at all this. 0213 is a comp tone.wave. And see the difference is the number. It just calls it out at different times. That is a type 2 sound, which is just a sound, I believe. Length is 0.2 of a second. That's the number in bank 1, the number in bank 2, the number in bank 3, blah, 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 blah. It's just the different stuff. Okay, so you can go through, and I guess this is a lot of the stuff that he says. Conquered, Olympus, Olympus conquered, extended play qualified, Olympus reward doubled, lighting torches doubles Olympus reward, Medusa's revenge, enter Neptune's cove, collect Neptune treasure, time your shot, light gorgons, time your shot, light gorgons, light gorgons, prepare for battle, conquer Olympus, Challenge Medusa. Okay, very cool. Sound descending wave. So yeah, you might want to look for long ones, you know. So this one is 7.1 seconds long. That might be one of the longer ones. Yeah, that's the longest one. So it's going to loop every 7.1 seconds. It's just how the thing's designed, right? So that's what's going on. So that would be the one you would replace maybe to, if you wanted like something a little longer. Sound 250 has no files that is used to turn off the background. Sound 249 is the regular background, which normally sequences faster as other sounds are called. Mine just increases on its own and eventually repeats. 246 is normally called to restart the background sequence. I have it the same as 249. Sounds 244 and 245 are faster bonus type backgrounds that play when called. So just a few little notes on it, right? And then we move on to 8-ball chant. So anyway, fascinating the way he has taken modern tech and tried to improve on the old Bally Squawk and Talk design. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go pop this in the game, and then we're going to play it a little bit and see if it sounds about the same as the ones before, and if the time your shot, light gorgons sounds the same. So I'm going to just go pop it in. I'm going to leave it set up how it is now. You know, you can go in and change the stuff around and see what you want to do with it, but I'm going to just leave it how it's set up stock. He's got these set at about 2 o'clock, like he said in the manual. He's got the voice a little higher, which I was going to say. I usually like making the voice a little higher than the background sounds. The way I see it, if the thing's got speech and it's got that cheesy old school synth speech, I want to hear it. Turn that crap up. Right? So that's where we're at. So let me go pop it in the game and let's play it a little bit. All right, folks, so it slid right in, no problem. I'm going to read you the instructions. Dropping the top Olympus targets, this is drops, advances the top red Olympus bar, bonus feature, lights, and lights the saucer to collect Olympus bonus. Each red feature light scores 1,000 bonus in the saucer. Advancing Olympus bonus past the flashing light advances the saucer value. Well, that explains that. So you got all these lights up here, and you'll see they'll be on like 3 or something. And so it's saying dropping the targets advances those. Okay, and if you go past the one light that's blinking, it multiplies the target, basically. I mean the saucer. Hitting the top green stationary targets lights the A and B arrows. A and B, when lit, doubles the Olympus bonus build-up value. So I guess it makes it where each time you get a drop target, you get 2 lights instead of 1 light. Hitting the left 1, 2, and 3 targets in sequence advances and collects the lit Colossus bonus, adds 10 units to the extended play, which is in the middle of the playfield with that display, and stops the left extra ball number. Stops the left extra ball number. Left extra ball number. Oh, that's the lights. That's the yellow arrow going through the left lane there. Dropping the 4 right targets advances and collects the lit Colossus bonus. Adds 5 units to extended play and stops the right extra ball number that's also going through. It almost looks like a spinner shot, but there's no spinner. The extra ball is awarded when both numbers are matched in the stop position or 25,000 points. I guess because you can only win 1 extra ball because of the same player shoots again. All specials score extra ball or 50,000 points. Okay, it's the same thing. The specials give you 50,000 points. Extended play feature adds additional balls after the last ball is played. Okay. Extended play feature adds additional balls after the last ball is played. That's pretty cool. I was wondering what that did. Okay, 5 shields of God's credits. 5 shields of God's credits at start of game. Credits advance each time a ball passes through the left or right side lanes to the Olympus target area. Okay. Remaining Shield of God credits score 10,000 points each when the bonus is collected at the end of the game. So the Shield of God is this little kicker right between the flippers here to save a ball. Maximum 1 extra ball in play. Tilt penalty is the ball in play. Okay, but what we're here for is, did the guy get the soundboard to sound like the soundboard? So here we go. The replacement Squawk and Talk. Let's see what it sounds like.
Prepare for battle. Time your shot. Like your guns.
Right. I missed it. I always miss it. Oh.
Time your shot. Like your guns.
Missed it again. Oh. They stole it from me.
Time your shot. Like your guns.
If it doesn't sound exactly the same, it's pretty freaking close. It could be it could be down to capacitors. You know what I mean? Ooh. I keep missing it. He's laughing at me. One drop target. One drop target to save it all. I'm trying to conquer Olympus. Oh, I missed it. Oh no. And he knew. You see how he laughed at me?
Time your shot. Like your guns.
I have yet to time the shot right. Oh. Oh, come on.
Time your shot. Like your guns.
I overplunged it. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay, I got extended play.
Challenge Medusa.
Oh, man. Come on now. Come on. Whoa, if I don't kick you over. All right, folks, so there you go. I think the thing sounds awesome. I think you can hear it. There's slight little variations, I think, in the sound. But again, I think that's probably down to like capacitors and stuff. Like the one on my old board, the capacitor, some of the, it could be different values of capacitors and things. It's so close, so similar. I think it's an awesome board. Now, if you're missing your Squawk and Talk, this is the only way to go. I mean, you got to get one of these things. If you've got a Squawk and Talk, but it's giving you problems, why not upgrade? If you want to change the call outs and the sound files and the background music and all that stuff, why not an upgrade? I just think it's a cool little board. So make sure to check it out. You saw the website, geedio.com. I'll put a link down below in the description if you can't remember that. And you can go check it out. So if you like the video, make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Leave your comments down below. What do you think? Right? And while you're at it, make sure to check out our website. Go to lionsarcade.com. We have a bunch of our games, our pinball machines, arcade games, stuff like that we have for sale right now are on the website. Now, we don't have very many pinballs because they sell as quick as we get them done. Look at this one. You think we're going to have any trouble selling this? I doubt it. Look, we got one little light that's acting up there. I'm waiting on a chip. I got one chip before I can sell this thing. I doubt it. I doubt we're going to have any trouble at all selling this, especially with the cool new soundboard in it, right? Very reliable, hopefully. Hopefully. I don't know. I've only had it for 10 minutes. I've been playing it, right? But make sure to check out our website. Go to lionsarcade.com. We also have a parts page on there. If some of the parts that we use when we do our repairs and stuff, we've got linked on that website. So you can go check it out. If you click any of those links, most of them take you to Amazon. If you buy anything on Amazon after you clicked our link, it gives us a tip, so thank you. And last but not least, don't forget to check out my brother, Donnie. My brother has his own channel here on YouTube. He's crazier than I am, so I'm over there with him a lot of times. We're renovating old buildings, working on old cars. A fun time is had by all. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out the Geedio. I'll bet I'm butchering that. I'm gonna go watch a video and see how you pronounce the name of the company. Make sure to check out the Geedio soundboards, and like I said, it's not just for the Squawk and Talk. He's got several of them, and I hope that'll help you if you're looking for a Squawk and Talk. But if not, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one. Maybe we'll play this thing a little more.